Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't. Now, today we're going to be talking about something called seasonal affective disorder, and it's a real thing, okay? I'm here in the sanctity of the garage. You can see I'm screen printing some stuff. Got the chalk drawn on a wall behind me. Got the water heater, which is decrepit and probably needs to be replaced. That aside, for those of you in those temperate latitudes, those winter climates, you do have to worry about getting depressed in the holiday season, all right? Many of us have, fucked up parental situations. Maybe you don't talk, your dad's a prick, whatever. You got issues with your uncle's, racist, whatever. You got some guy that shows up, you don't even know who he is. He shows up at your family gatherings and stuff. He's hitting the booze, goes on a deranged rant about something that is somewhat incoherent, that kind of stuff. It's regular holiday stuff. All right, not to mention the fact you haven't seen the sun in about, I don't know, going on 2 months now, and you still got another 4 or 5 months to go, all right, of those long, gray, dreary days where you just are kind of inclined to stress eat or, drink yourself to death, poison yourself with alcohol, or just smoke yourself into a coma with weed. But we do have an option. There's a better way, and I'll tell you what it is. Growing cactus from seed. So we're going to look at that today. We're going to show you how to do it. And plus, you just get them lights. You just get having them lights in your room. It's bright, looks like shit outside. It's so cold. The snow's got the consistency of sand. All your friends are alcoholics too. Nothing to do but go out and drink. There's no green stuff outside to go look at. Except maybe the pile of puke that's down there in the street from the guy that lives on the corner. And anyway, the point is, there's a better option. So you get some of those lights, you'll cure your seasonal affective disorder, and you get, the opportunity to care about another living thing. In this case, rare cacti. It doesn't matter what you're growing cactus just to put on your little stoop in the summertime when it warms up, or just because you like them, or maybe you want cactus to send to friends. They transport easily once you grow them from seed. Just take the soil away, wrap them in a paper. So anyway, we're going to tell you how to do that. I'm going to show you my option. I live in a region where cacti are native. We get a shit ton of rare and endangered cacti here. We're trying to do restoration efforts with them, grow them from seed, and actually plant them out in situ into the soil again, because they do best in the ground rather than in pots. So we got a lot of rare cacti here. Probably 12 different species at least in South Texas. I like to grow from seed, but really anywhere it's a great thing to do, and they don't take that up. They don't take up that much space, They're not like this damn vine, this pothos vine. It's gonna go through your bathroom, clog the vents, trying to slip out the windows, shit like that. So let's look at what we do. How do you grow cactus from seed? Let's check it out. See, you got the soil and all that stuff in there, but before you even get to that, you gotta get the seeds, okay? Get the seeds. In this case, it's Haematocactus setaspinus. These are the ones that have been getting murked by pigs, by feral pigs, and to a lesser extent, javelina as well. And so we're going to grow a bunch to restore, to plant out in that clay, sandy, silty soil down here in the Rio Grande Valley that they love. Now you can see the fruit is it's a little berry, very obviously bird dispersed. Historically, a bird would take this, if the habitat wasn't getting fucked into a coma, take this up into the canopy of a mesquite, eat it, eat them little, get the flesh off. It's make a filthy, dirty mess, spill seeds all over the ground. They fall down into that silty, sandy clay and then germinate. Should be a ton of recruitment of this, but again, the pigs and the javelina have just been going to town on it. That's why we need people to, hunt the pigs and maybe hunt some of the javelina too. Because remember, they used to get hunted by jaguars and pumas and etc. And those are all have been wiped out from Rio Grande Valley. I think there might still be some pumas here and there. Either way, you get the fruits. I smush them on a piece of paper. Okay, you could use, stuff from bill collectors for a medical debt you're never going to pay. I'm never going to pay it. It's a badge of honor. Anyway, but it does make good paper for smearing the cactus fruits on there. You smear them on there, and then, if you're in like a high humidity area, it's kind of chilly right now, I guess, especially if you're like northern latitude or something, as if you're collecting the fruits yourself, you got to put it in front of a fan, okay? It doesn't matter even if it's that hot. As long as you get that airflow over there, they will eventually dry out. But if you got the fan, you don't want to blow the seeds away, so you put it in a little tray, cardboard tray, whatever. And so anyway, once you get them seeds, I'll clean them. I'll take all this. I'll discard all that, all the fruit, the red flesh, throw it out, and then just basically take it into that. Fold this in half and then put it in a little bag, and go from there. Of course, if you're not in cactus habitat, you still want to grow them. Say, you're in Chicago, New York, wherever the fuck, you could just order them online. Mesa Garden sells these. There's a ton of cactus seed retailers online. This is a great way to grow other low maintenance succulents as well. You can see what I did with these Ibervillea lindheimeri seeds. Looks like somebody puked on this sheet of paper. I just take those little seeds, the little fruits, excuse me, they're about the size of a marble, smear them on there, get all the juice out, and then that's what you want right there. You want them seeds. You take them seeds, let that stuff dry, and then you go put them in a pot. Well, anyway, once you do that, you move that stuff over, then you grab this stuff, okay? This is actually super rich soil, all right? It's kind of ridiculous how rich it is. It's the stuff the pot growers use. You know, it's got all different, products in there that basically juice up the cacti like a Jersey Guido. You know, it's just really nutrients, really nutrient rich, and this alone would rot them, okay? So what you got to do is you mix it half and half, maybe even a little bit higher on the pumice side with 1/8 inch pumice, okay? Pumice, not perlite. Perlite's too light, and it's basically pumice that's been heated in a kiln, and it'll move around, float to the surface, whatever. But you could buy all this stuff on Scamazon, and just get a small bag of Fox Farm, small bag of this, and then of course you could use this for houseplants and stuff too, veggies, whatever. That's why I got the big bag. But anyway, mix it half and half. All right, but first you're gonna have to sift that stuff out because this ocean forest shit comes with a lot of bark particles, as you can see down there, and you don't want those. Those are too large for seedlings, and they'll cause rot issues, etc. So you sift those out using a screen. You can also buy on Scamazon. You gotta see I got a couple different sizes, and so you just start sifting. You can see my garage is a freaking mess too. Okay, I don't need to hear nothing about it. All right. Got a nice Quetzalcoatlus I drew on the wall just for shits and giggles, some mosquito dunks, whatever. I had to hide all the guns and dildos because, this is a YouTube video. We do have standards here. That aside, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to sift this stuff. It'd be nice if this actually fit on a 5-gallon bucket, but that would make too much sense for Scamazon, which is like the Walmart of online retailers. Kind of like the Dollar General of online retailers. Anyway, so let's take a bag of this, dump it in, or you sift it out. I'll give a shout out to Javier too, because he's the one that got me into using this juiced up stuff. All right, this Fox Farm stuff, and then you get much quicker growth out of them. And that's all that counts. You want to get the cacti above that tiny little seedling stage. The bigger they get, the less prone to rot they are. So you can see what I'm doing. Real easy, all right? You could kind of, you could cosplay as a gold miner, some inbred gold miner hanging out in the Sierra foothills or something like that. Is that judgment? Is that racist against gold miners? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. You get some. We've all seen Deliverance. That was in Appalachia, but still. So anyway, you can see you got this. You got all the bark left. Dump that out. You could use it for something else. It's harmless when they're larger, but you just don't want it on them seedlings because again, fungus grows on organic material. That's why we're using such a heavy mineral mix, aka non-organic material, with all that pumice. Now again, pumice is not. It doesn't. At least down here, it doesn't mimic the soil chemistry of the plants where I grow, since they grow in soil that's weathered from calcareous rock, and this is silica. Volcanic is a little bit more acidic, but it doesn't seem to matter. So anyway, you do that, you just kind of feel it out, all right? I don't even measure it, I just feel it. So this is a little too organic, obviously, so we're going to add some more pumice. Got a soil scoop, too. Now, you want to watch out because you can get the silicosis, and though that might, get you a future claim, from an ambulance chaser at some point, 10 years down the line, you definitely don't want to compromise your health. Oh, God, I just hold my fucking breath during this. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that silicosis is nice. Oh, yeah, you get some pumice particles lodged in your... Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe you want to do this outside. You don't want to do this in the garage. Anyway, so how's that looking? All right. Yeah, it's still... Maybe we need... You know what? Might even need more pumice. Now, again, if you were to use this mix outside in the summer, this would be far too dry for most of these plants, especially in the seedling stage. They need more humidity. Cacti need humidity and more moisture when they're young, and that's what can make it kind of tricky. It's a fine line between too little and too much. Too little, they dry out really easily because they're the size of peas, if not smaller, pinheads in some cases. And too much, they rot because this is not how they grow in situ, in habitat. All right, much different. I mean, I'll see Areocarpus growing, and they grow slower in habitat too. I'll see Areocarpus growing, really open and exposed, basically in pure limestone dust. All right, but they're getting airflow out there, they're getting more light, etc. Anyway, so we'll mix this up, and we're going to use more pumice. And the reason we can use pumice, so much pumice, because this is way drier a mix than they would get, as seedlings in habitat, is because we're going to keep them in closed containers. So the humidity is going to be so high that the fact that we're using, you know, half or more ratio of pumice, of a non-water holding soil component, is because that humidity is going to be so high for the first month, 2 months, 3 months that you got those little cactus seedlings germinating and growing in there. Yeah, that looks almost good enough. That looks actually fine. Okay, so that's a good mix. Now we can go and put it in the container. For the containers, you could see I got all kinds of different stuff here. God, the silicosis, fuck me. Oh, I'm getting killed still. Anyway, I got these little trays. These are nice. You can see I was actually using native Starr County soil. That worked well for a little bit, but it's kind of shit. That soil is only good when it's in the ground and you've got a mass volume of it. It's that silty, sandy clay that holds onto water, but when it dries out, it turns into like a brick. So that aside, that's what that's left over from. So anyway, so you get these little trays. Look, you got some algae, some cyanobacteria growing in there still. You get trays. These trays have holes in them, and then these trays right here don't. Okay, and this is important. So when you water, if you overwater, you can just, you know, take the clear tray out of this, let it dry, evaporate, whatever. And but you don't want it to, you know, again, you're closing up those holes in the boat. You want it ideally to be a self-contained little dome in there, humidity dome. So that's one option. I know other guys who use, you know, I know other people that use these fucking long trays with another, you know, they sell these things too on Scamazon. Tray like this with a little humidity dome. So that's what we're gonna be using. You know, this garage really is a fucking mess, and I apologize for that. You know, I'm still working out some of my shame for this. You know, so now we just dump that. Use a little scooper. Okay, you know, you could steal from the bulk bins at the overpriced health food store, and dump it in there. You know, make sure it's like, if you're going to do it from Whole Foods. Don't do it from like a mom and pop establishment. Even if they're, you know, charging fucking wheelbarrow full of loads of money to pay for some of the, you know, the fancy, whatever the shit they're selling on there, you know, those fancy dates or fucking Turkish figs. But anyway, so load that in there. See, I'm making a fucking mess all over the place. I'm doing it to myself. We do it to ourselves, don't we? You're going to flatten this out. You want it to be right, just maybe a millimeter below the level of the rim at that container, and then you got to go wet it. You got to go wet it. You can wet it in the sink. I like to use a little mister because it's delicate enough. Just a little mister attachment for the hose. Wet it, and then you bring it inside and you're ready to sew. See, there you go, nice and gentle. Just moisten it, but you want it to soak through. You want to, you know, take it out that black pot. Take those clear trays out the black pot. Make sure it's soaking in there. So you got to go gentle so it don't all run off, etc. Anyway, so let it soak through. Make sure it's, you know, all the water you collect. Don't forget the water that you know comes through the pot collects at the bottom. You got to dump that out. All right, I've made a mistake leaving it in there before, not properly draining them. They get way too wet and they all rat and die. As you can see, I have this filthy futon that I use to throw in the back of my truck to sleep in the middle of the desert when I'm doing field work. But anyway, right next to it, we got our little setup here. We got all these different seats, so we're just going to take them and we're going to use the Leo method of gently sprinkling them around. All right, and you kind of want to go a little heavy because you know these guys, they seem to like to grow on top of each other. And if you're, you know, doing, you know, things to maintain fungus so you don't get it, you know, basically to control fungus, it's not that bad. And then they're easier to separate. They get juicy quick. You just don't want to get those fruit bits. I'm going to go remove those with tweezers because those fruit bits will mold, and, you know, the fungus will attack the dead stuff first, and then it'll go for later on for the living seedlings. So we're just sprinkling this Haematocactus setaspinus seed in there real nice, and then we're going to cover it up with the humidity dome and let it do its thing. And then you just basically, you're trying to control moisture. Check the bottom of that tray, make sure there's not water pooling up. If there is, dump it out, and then you're just creating a sealed environment, and you just want to leave it like that for a good month or two. You could do this for ornamental purposes. I like to grow for restoration. So if you live in South Texas, you know, we got some really rare species that certainly need conserving around here. If you live up near Austin, there's some cool Coryphantha species that need conserving. You know, down in South Texas, we got Mammillaria hyderi, Echinocereus acanthus, Coryphantha macromeris, Haematocactus setaspinus, and sinuatus, and quite a few more species that actively need conserving. Astrophytum is always an important one. And then, you know, if you can't restore, you can't plant them back in habitat, plant them in your yard. You know, kill your lawn, plant some of this stuff under your yard. The cacti generally like to grow in it with a little bit of shade cover because it's so fucking hot here in the summer. If you live in southern Arizona, you got your own rare cactus species you can grow, etc. All right, New Mexico, California, all these lower latitude places in the U.S. have their own cactus species, and we grow cactus because it's super low maintenance. They don't get too big, and you can grow hundreds of them in a small little tray like this. Now, as you can see, I put the seed all in there nice, got the cover on, got those holes in the top. We're going to keep that closed for the time being because we want to reach the perfect humidity level, the perfect window of humidity, and just keep it closed so we don't have to open it or worry about it or anything. All right, if you do get rot issues, you could use copper soap. Copper soap stuff, and you got, you just mix it, it's concentrated. Mix it in one of these pump sprayers because, you're going to be spraying down a lot. And if you just got one of those little trigger sprayers, it's not going to work right. Now, this actually gives me an opportunity to hype this company that sent me these about 7 months ago. I was supposed to do it 7 months ago, all right? But, better late than never, whatever. You like that photo of the vulture? He puked shortly after I took that photo. It's in northern Chile in Atacama. Anyway, spider-farmer.com. It's not spiderfarmer.com, it's something else. Spider-farmer.com. Use code CRIMEPACE20 at checkout. They make the best lights, these bright-ass LEDs. Okay, if you need to raise it or lower it, that's how you do it. They also have ones that have a fading switch. Like you can incrementally increase or decrease the amount of light. By far, they make the best lights. Them and Sunblaster, right? LEDs, low energy, whatever the shit. You can see I got all my other houseplants going. I got some Coryphantha, got some horse cripplers going in there, more Haematocactus, set of spines, got a vanilla, got a pinguicula. Should we have any issues with fungus gnats, fruit flies, etc., because this is a carnivorous plant. Those are sticky leaves, and they do well. They're pretty, they're pretty adjustable. You just got to keep them in some water. They can't dry out. Got some Astrophytum, that Madam Cacti, my friend Jerail sent me. You can see there's a nice grafted Caput Medusae. Got a Ripsalis back there. I got some Hylocereus I just bought. Kind of an impulse buy, some dragon fruits. I could pot them up. You got like 30 seedlings in there. Probably grown in some mega greenhouse, probably treated with some toxic shit. Who knows? Anyway, the point is, you keep these in here. If they're reddening too much, if it's too bright, you could sometimes use a piece of paper. Only for the first few weeks. If it's too bright, they'll be turning red, flushing those betalain pigments. Okay, and that's an indication they're getting too much light. Cover it with a piece of paper, something else. You can also just raise or lower, but I can't raise these lights anymore. And then you're just basically going to let them do their thing for a month or two because that ocean forest soil is so juicy, got so much nitrogen and other nutrients in it, they'll tend to get big fast. So, Mammillaria hyderi, again, all these things can grow pretty quick. And since the humidity is up, they can keep their stomata open. Remember, cacti can, all plants can close and open their stomata, but cacti tend to grow very slow because they have camp photosynthesis. They take in CO2 at night and then close their stomata during the day. And that's an adaptation to the drought environments in which they live because they don't want to lose too much moisture. You open your stomata, you take in CO2, you're also letting out water vapor as well as oxygen. That's how they're the base of the whole fucking food chain, these plants are, but it's a different lecture. Anyway, so you get these going and just let them sit tight. Don't worry about it, and just keep an eye on it. Spray them with the fungicide if they need to. That copper stuff, it's organic, it's not toxic. Makes them look blue, but whatever. Better blue than dead. And then, just give it some time. Once they get big enough, you can you start cranking that open, slowly adjusting the new growth that arises out of that apical meristem to lower humidity levels. You can see I got a nice hygrometer right there. It's 76 degrees in here. Roughly 53% relative humidity. Remember, warm air holds more humidity. So, ideally, you'd want these at like 80 to 82. That seems to be the optimum temperature, at least for the South Texas cacti. Probably different temperature for South American cacti if you're growing Copiapoas or Trichocereus or something, since South American cacti tend to like it a little cooler. Their deserts aren't as hot as ours, but regardless, 80 degrees is like optimal for this. So it's a little chilly in here, but that'll work. Between 75 and 85 is the ideal window. You don't want to go much hotter than that. But anyway, there you go. So you just sit tight, don't worry about it, let these things grow, do their thing, and then you gently, once they're starting to overflow over the lip of the thing, like some of these horse cripplers are down here, you could see, well, not really. That's kind of shit soil too. These need to be repotted. All right, the more root space you give them, the bigger they get, in proportion to their stem. The more root space in proportion to stem, the the bigger they can grow. You know, you don't want to worry about crowding them. But that soil is really the thing. Remember, it's just half and half. Half pumice, half that Fox Farmer. You could use another, rich organic material. Anyway, grow some rare cacti from seed, all right? Or anything. You could do this with anything, again. But it just, it helps you get out of that funk and you get the care for another living thing. That's all I got to have a grocery day. Go fuck yourself. Bye.